Y'all, Daniel Aaron here with you. Thank you so much for tuning in, live or by rebroadcast. I got a sneaky feeling this is going to be one of the juiciest in this whole series. This whole series, meaning a series that I am doing as an honoring and homage to some of my teachers, mentors, guides, coaches. I recently came out of the closet about my ordination 31 years ago as a minister, first time ever using the title. And as I reflect back on this journey so far, there's plenty to go. I'm so deeply in debt to the amazing, amazing people who have graced and blessed my life. So I'm honoring them. That's one way of tithing, paying something, in this case, energy words, to people who supported and helped my spiritual growth. And that is a perfect transition because this guy, let's call him Bobby, not his name, not even close. Don't try and guess. We'll call this guy Bobby. And I met Bobby 6 years ago, about 6 years ago. I had just moved back from Bali, and it was a really, really rough transition. I was not, and when I say back, North America, back in the country I was born in, the USA. I came back to the USA. Well, actually, I was on a trip, found out I couldn't go back to where I lived in Bali, and sort of overnight lost my home and my business and my income and the money I had and all our stuff and our dog, and suddenly had a bunch of debt, no income. And here we are, me and my daughter, and we got 2 suitcases, and it was a rough transition, even though my head knew it's all good, it's all fine, this is just part of the process. Part of me was kicking and screaming. So it was a rough time. I was feeling really super challenged by it. And in that period, I connected with my old breathwork teacher. And I say old, meaning we've known each other for a long time. She's not old. She is ageless. And her name is Judith. And I actually I mentioned her in one of these videos a few days ago. Amazing woman. And I hadn't seen her in, 25 years since I'd done a lot of training with her. Meanwhile, I facilitated hundreds of breathwork sessions. So it was great to reunite with her. And when I did, I connected with some other people in that world, and I learned of someone that others considered their guru, who they referred to as enlightened. I said, "Oh, that's cool, interesting." I've always been fascinated. I'm not always, since I had that divine whack upside the head, I've had a really keen interest in quote enlightened beings, in whoever is most switched on, tuned in, alive, clear, free. And for much of my life, I oriented my life toward getting with those people, right? As close as I could. It's always been for me, like, go to the source. If so-and-so taught this and they trained so-and-so, well, I'm going to go to that so-and-so. So that's the way I've oriented my life. You've heard some of that. I'll tell you more of that. So when I heard about this being, immediately I was like, oh, I would love to meet that person. But it's a very selective thing. And there's an inner circle and an outer circle, and it's hard to get in the inner circle. And somehow I was lucky. I don't know. But somehow I went from the periphery right into the inner circle, like welcomed right in. People are like, how did that happen? Come to think of it, I've had that experience a few times with gurus. Ooh, I said it. There's the word guru. It's a loaded word, especially here in the West. In the East, it really could mean just teacher. It literally means one who reveals the light in another, or guru could mean remover of guru. Or it could mean, gee, you are you, as it is spelled. In any case, I'm down with that word. And I read an amazing book many years ago called The Guru Papers. Let me see if I can get the subtitle. Not Tales, but Masks of Authoritarian Power. Ooh, that gives you a flavor for that book. It is not happy with gurus. It really goes. And then you look at a book like Robert Cialdini's Influence, classic book. And in Influence, he talks about cults, right? And Jonestown. And so I've personally been fascinated by gurus. There's an incredible movie. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it, called Kumare, The True Story of a False Prophet, Kumare, Kumare. Yes, amazing. And so this idea of who's a guru, and we know of gurus who have done great things, and then we know of gurus who've been involved in scandals, and gurus who turns out they were, the wizard behind the curtain making it all look a certain way. I've had gurus. I've been a disciple. I've been in a position where people call me guru, right? So it's a fascinating thing. And one thing I know for sure, if we leave all that aside, for any of us to be with somebody who has gone further than we have, right? And whether that's we want to learn about coding or coaching or running or swimming, like that's useful to be around someone who's got more experience or skill in that realm. And in no realm is that more interesting or important than being. So this is an area that I've been very into for a long time. So when I got into this inner circle, and not only that, suddenly I was getting an abundance of private time with this guru, which at the time I thought, well, I don't know why I'm getting that. Other people really want that. And not only that, I got like no money. I was like suddenly barely getting by. So it wasn't like I was paying that guru. And I was super grateful. Now, let me step back, because one of the, I don't know if it's a debate, but two perspectives that we often hear in the world of awakening, enlightenment, spiritual development, whatever language you put on that, there's one perspective that says, this is more common in the East and India especially, which is find a guru, be adherent to that guru, follow that guru, do what that guru says. Don't go for other gurus. And there are many people that have their one guru, and you hear people say, my guru, like that's their one. And there can be a beauty and a power to that path. There's another perspective, which is don't follow any one, right? Choose from many. Whoever helps you is the one, right? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't give your power away. And we could talk for the next 3 hours about fascinating stories of people who've woken up or haven't woken up to whatever degree, and their relationship with guru. Skipping over that for now, though, I never did choose one guru, and I've gone very deeply with some very awake beings, some that you could, and I'll talk more about them too in here in this series, some that others would call enlightened, and I've spent very intimate, deep time with some of those, but I was never asked by them to renounce others or to adhere only to them. And I never felt to do that. Sometimes I really focused with one, and it wasn't that I was renouncing other teachers or gurus. It was just that that's where my focus was. However, back to, when was this, 2016, 17, when I was with Bobby. Hope I'm keeping everything straight in my deflection of who it actually is. When I was with Bobby, one of the things that Bobby suggested or said to me in ways was me, be with me, right? And there's a concept in that tradition, again, India, Hindu tradition, which is that you love the guru. And I love the story, say, of Ram Dass. I write about that in my book, The Art of Spiritual Leadership, how he fell in love with his guru. And there's a great saying, which is the guru tells the disciple, you've got 3 jobs. The first is to find me. The second is to love me. The third is to leave me. In any case, as I met Bobby, and Bobby just really embraced me, and it was at a time when I was incredible. I mean, one of the lowest points for sure of my life, scared and weak and vulnerable and shameful and judging myself really harshly. I was a mess, and I didn't know what to do. And so, having this love and this acceptance, this embrace was like a godsend to me. And so I really poured in and leaned in and absorbed. And this was it was an intense, like just a few weeks, really. I remember I was in New Hampshire and I was connecting with this guru by phone or by, I think Zoom at that point. He was in Florida and we're connecting. And then the guru was hosting a virtual retreat. I think it was a 2-day thing, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And I was, again, honored to be invited to be part of it. Small group. There was, 8 people, all of whom had been with this guru for many years. I was like completely out of place. And even when he introduced me to the group, I don't know, but I kind of sense people are like, who does this guy think he is? Can just walk in here, So we're in this retreat, and I'm just, again, so grateful, and it's giving me hope for the first time in a while after a really extended, challenging time. And about halfway through the first day, we'd had a little break and come back from the break and, open up for questions, sharing. And I ask a question because I want some help. And I say to Bobby, I'm having a challenging time right now because I feel judgment arising in me. And, in this context, in case it's not clear for you, in this context, it's clear that judgment is not a positive thing. Judgment's in the way of freedom, love, enlightenment. And so my saying this is saying, I've got this judgment. I don't want to have it. Will you help me with it? And the response from Bobby was, what are you judging? Who are you judging? I felt safe. I felt safe enough to be honest and vulnerable in that. And while I was embarrassed and even ashamed at the judgment I had, I thought, I can trust this guru. And so I'm going to lay it out on the table. And I said, yeah, well, okay. I was judging this person, this person, this person, other people in the group. And I was judging you for the way you were working with them. And, not necessarily a wise thing. Well, definitely, I was going to say not a wise thing based on what happened, but let me put it this way. I said that. I'll just tell you what happened. I said that, and the guru, Bobby, paused for a minute, and he said, okay, well, is there anything else you want to say? I was kind of puzzled, like, oh, that's pretty big already. I think I, dropped a big one there, so please help. And I was like, no, I'm not, am I missing something? And then he said, well, this is going to be the last thing you say to this group and in this retreat. So I was like, what do you mean? And what he meant was, you're out of here. Like, you crossed a line. I crossed a line. I broke a rule. Didn't know it was a rule or there was that line. And quite literally, he kicked me out of the Zoom meeting and wouldn't let me back in for the rest of the weekend. And I'm somewhat embarrassed about this too. I was so needy and so desperate for this guru's love and acceptance and guidance. I felt so lost that, the next hour I tried to log back in, sent an email, sent a voice message, sent a text. I mean, like, you remember that scene in Hitch when he's trying really hard to get his girlfriend back when Alex Hitchens as a young college student, like the needy guy trying to, please, will you go out with me? That's what I felt like. And I saw myself doing it. I'm like, oh, that's gross. Come on, man, stop it. But I couldn't help it. Honestly, I was just like thinking there's some kind of test here, prove my loyalty, my dedication. Like there's that saying in spiritual traditions, like if the disciple asks the guru 3 times for assistance, the guru has to say yes. There are these, romantic, legendary stories about the disciple that was so dedicated, sat outside the guru's door in the frozen snow and rain for 3 days before finally, on the edge of death, the guru said, okay, come in. I kind of thought, well, maybe that's what it's a test. But nothing worked. And for the whole 2 days, I tried, and embarrassed and all, and never once had a response. And I tried other times, days and weeks following, and never had another response. Nothing. And I'm aware, as I say that could sound like complaint and judgment from me. And well, there may be still some energy for me to relax or heal or let go of in that. More what I come away with and why I'm bringing this here is I don't think it's wrong for anyone to have adherence to one guru. And so far, anyway, that's not my path. And I tried and didn't work out. Part of what I got is danger, danger, danger to give away one's power. And I for sure was doing that. The other thing I got from that, and I've got this from a few different teachers, mentors, guides, coaches of mine, examples of what I don't want to do, who I am not, who I do not want to be with the people I serve. And I got a strong one from Bobby in that case, which was what's really important and essential to me, right? For clients, for students, for anybody that I am in service to, which is everybody. There's nothing that you can't bring, right? In other words, whatever anyone brings, including and especially if it's judgment about me, if it's criticism about me, there's a line in my own Supreme Self Manifesto, a declaration that I give to myself daily. And that is, I am inspirational leadership, alchemizing criticism into brilliance. And part of why that phrasing came to me is there's a legend about the peacock being one of the only predators for the cobra. And the legend is that the peacock, one of the few beings that can kill the cobra, kills the cobra, takes in the venom. That the peacock then metabolizes that poison, that venom, and that becomes the colors in the peacock's tail. I don't think it's probably exactly true, however, and it is a beautiful metaphor. And so that's my declaration for who I am. That means that when there is criticism, I'll take it, right? When someone has something to say about what I'm doing or not doing, I welcome it, right? I will use that to make me more effective. And I want anyone to feel safe and empowered, encouraged, welcomed to bring whatever they want to our relationship. I think I've said about enough. This is probably the longest one in this whole series. So let me see. Did I miss anything? Are there any comments or questions along the way here? I think not. Oh, wait, what happened? So far, no. So if, though, you're watching by rebroadcast and you got a comment or a question, I would love to hear from you. Couldn't be any other way after all that I just said, right? And if I can be of any service to you, or if you just want to talk about what's going on for you, what you're breaking away from, what you'd love to create, I would be honored to do that. I'd love to meet you. That's the funnest stuff in the world. People engaged in meaningful change, dreams, transformation. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for being interested in creating more vibrancy in your